Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. I'm excited because we are in the middle of a detox. If you are curious what in the world I am talking about, stay tuned because you are going to be learning about detoxing, cleansing, getting healthy in 21 days. It's 3 months of work in only 21 days. I'm in the middle of the detox. I'm not even in the middle of the detox. I'm on the second day of the detox. Dr. Chapa's wife, Dr. Chapa's in studio. Your wife is in the middle of her detox. We're at the beginning, right?
Yes, we still have a little bit of a hill to climb, don't we? And yeah, she's definitely got an early start. She said after the holidays, she goes, I am ready. She goes, I feel like I'm officially out of the baby stage, and I want this.
It's awesome.
And so she jumped right in and got after it, and so I'm proud of her. She's looking good, feeling good, and she's real full of energy, and it's so awesome to watch that no matter where we're at, our body just needs this. This is a great start to the new year. And so, I just encourage people, if you are curious, we're going to be talking about detox today. And this is Dr. Aaron Chapa, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, tuning in with all of you wonderful folks on digital radio and soon on the radio. So we were just fired up to see what will today bring. What questions might you have? And so if you do have questions, comments, we would ask you to post those into our feed. And Gardy will ask those questions over to me, and we'll kind of just go from there. And then we'll also just be talking in general, just about health and wellness. And so who knows what we might discuss this fine day.
All right. It's going to be fun. I'm going to kick us on the FM, and then once we get going, I'm going to share this in the detox group to make sure that everybody who is currently on this detox with us is able to ask these questions, get them answered, just get involved. We love questions on social media, so feel free to ask. Definitely share this video. That's one thing you can do, and it just takes a couple seconds. Start a watch party, share this video out. Let's talk about health, nutrition. It's 2020. Let's make our goals, let's smash them and just move past them, and then spread some positivity. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. It's 9:06 on a Tuesday. That means we have Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio. It's day 2 of the detox. There's a 21-day detox. If you want to get involved and you want to find out more information, you can give Dr. Chapa's office a call, 281-554-8600. You can also go to justlivewell.com. Dr. Aaron Chapa is here in studio. He is somebody who enlightened me on what detoxing is. I had no idea up until, I guess, a year and a half ago, and that was around the first time that I did a detox. I've done 2. This will be my 3rd. It's 21 days of vacation, which it sounds good when you say it that way. You're vacationing your body from things that it may normally get, like toxins and caffeine, and in some cases, protein from meat. You can get protein from other places, but just like taking a vacation from meat. Dr. Chapa, how you doing? What does detoxing mean to you?
Well, I'll tell you what. So I am a detox junkie. I love the idea of giving my body tools. I love the idea of believing that the body can do more than we give it credit for. So many times people come in and they're just dealing with symptoms that they were not genetically born with. They're dealing with headaches. They're dealing with allergies. They're dealing with skin problems. They feel like they just don't have enough gumption, get up and go, vim, vigor, and vip to get through their day. And I find that a good detox is a first good next step. If you've never done detox before, we have a safe, wonderful program that can be added to most medical conditions that people are going through and be adjunctive. And we want people to just know that this idea of detox is a way of giving your body a 21-day vacation from stress and stimulants. And when you give your body this vacation, you also start realizing, hey, food is medicine. Food is a resource. Food is nourishment to my body, to my mind, and to the way my body feels and gets through each and every day. And you just start breaking the emotional addiction we have to food. And therefore, you're not driven by your belly or your taste buds. You're driven by fuel. And so you start to feel good. You start to sleep better. You start to see changes in your weight. You start seeing changes in your blood sugar. You start seeing changes in the way you're just performing on the job, off the job, with your kids, at church, wherever your social circle leads you. And so it is just an amazing program that I've been doing with patients, with myself. This is my 41st detox that I've done. It's a 21-day program. I encourage people to be detoxing 42 days minimum out of the year. Some people need more, but at minimum, we need at least 42 good days throughout the year, not necessarily consistently, because a lot of times I look at the detox like an awareness check. This gives you an awareness of where are you in the course of your wellness program. And if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your wellness program. And what I mean by that is there are so many reasons that we will talk about at our today and this upcoming class this week of why detox must be a part of your 21st century healthcare plan, because we are being bombarded. There's an onslaught of toxins that are coming at us from every which way to Sunday that are causing our body to age faster than it's supposed to. I mean, smash the like button if you have symptoms that you were not genetically born with. That could be headaches, skin issues, can't sleep at night, you seem like you got a little bit more anxiety than normal. Your body's, not performing like it did when you were 18 years old. You know what I mean?
I wish it was.
Yeah, I mean, always, right? We always
in some cases.
In some cases, we want the vitality, right, of an 18-year-old, but we don't necessarily want the lack of responsibility, because then it means that some of us have to go back and live under our parents' roof again, and sometimes. Maybe that was good. I don't know.
It could be. It sounds kind of nice right now. I was really dumb at 18. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. I made some really silly choices. I made some okay ones too, but if I could go back and feel, maybe like had the skin I had when I was 18 and be able to go out and eat some of the same stuff. Oh, wait, that's not what we're talking about here. Because I can't eat the same way. Like dairy, I could eat dairy at 18. Now it messes me up. So during the detox, hey, I'm eliminating it because I want to feel good.
That's right. And so, a lot of people say, oh, that's too hard, and it's interesting. And I don't know if it's just a theme, but yesterday, oh, by the way, it's 9/11. I love 9/11. God bless everybody. But yesterday I'm in the office working on a patient, and I read this on the back of her shirt, and it says, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things," plural. Like there's always other things to do in addition to what we got to do, aka go to the moon, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, so people say to me, "Oh, the detox is hard." Well, don't make the detox hard. Make it fun. Make it something that you can really appreciate as we do hard things. In homeschool, Lee Borton's, who's the founder of Classical Conversations, she says we do hard things. So when my kids fall, I say, "Hey guys, why do we fall?" And they say, "So we can get back up again." And I'm like, "That's excellent attitude. That's what we need." And now, what do? We do hard things. Why? Because life isn't always easy, and we don't want to coddle our kids so much that we don't prepare them for the possibility that life might be a little hard at times. And if they can see us as adults modeling what hard looks like, it changes, the paradigm for which they have an appreciation for life. They don't expect it to be just a cakewalk. And then one of my friends just texted me, and it says, underlined on something she's reading, and it says, "It is hard, but endurance makes more bearable what is unnatural to change." And and then this morning I was talking with another buddy of mine, and what does James 1 say? In the Bible, James 1, it says, "Be of good cheer, my brethren, for you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." And so one of the awareness checks that I love so much about detox is it's like throwing a cinder block into a pond and you get this massive ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens when you throw a pebble in there? It's not quite as big of a ripple
Just
effect.
a little bloop.
Bloop. Yep.
Yeah.
As opposed to a kerplunk, we should have like kerplunk and then bloop. And then
a big old splash with the wave. Yeah,
we can have sound effects. I like it. And the detox is a 3-month worth of impact into your awareness body, your mind, and the way you perceive food and look at your world in 21 days. So it's a fast track to pull you on to a different path than you were. And so when you're looking at your overall health and well-being, if you find yourself dealing with some sort of ailment, and I can literally name off any ailment, but it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a thyroid conditioning. I mean, it could be cervical cancer. It could be a skin rash. It could be just headaches. It could be I just want to lose some weight. It could just be like what you were saying. I just want to feel good. I love this idea of feeling good. And detox in the 21st century, it's starting to catch on. People are starting to get this message that they've got to adopt this new vocabulary word into their repertoire. And it's not, what the detox does as much as what you become in the process. When you deny yourself processed food, junk food, sugars, starches, stimulants, things that your body doesn't need on the regular, and you're giving yourself a vacation from that stuff, you're forcing your body to work on its own pillars and its own foundation. And I'm telling you, that foundation wants to be awesome. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is give your body the tools and the platform to stand on a stronger rock, and it will. And I just love watching people go through this program. I've taken over 1,000 people through this game, and I mean, I don't know how I would be where I'm at without doing detox on the regular. And I just wonder, like when I'm 70 years old, like what will my life look like? But I know it's going to be great.
1 million detoxes in.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I might as well start today.
Yes. So I have to brag on myself. So yesterday I drank my gallon of water.
Nice.
And then, so this is where I'm at today so far. I had a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, and I actually went to the Chamber of Commerce 2 times. The first time I went, I had some issues with my car, which I'm not going to talk about right now because I could talk for an hour about that. But it got fixed. So I stopped in the chamber, and it was like 8:30 in the morning, maybe like 8 o'clock. And I walked in, and I had my gallon of water, and it was already down to there. They said, "My goodness, are you going to drink all that today?" I was like, "Yes." "Was that full?" They said, "You've already drinking that much water?" And somebody had a bottle of water and said, this is what, you
drink for the day.
I'm drinking for the day. So anyways, I went back at 1 o'clock because I had another meeting, and she was like, "I'm still on my same bottle of water." And so I was like way down to there. So I almost finished my gallon before she finished that one. But that was me. That used to be me. On Thursday, I had an appointment at your office, and you asked me, "So how much water have you drank today?" I said, "Well, I had 2 workouts this morning, and I drank about a bottle of water in the morning." And you were like, "Gardy, you got to drink more water. You have to drink more water." And this is my question. Why?
So I'll tell you why. Number one, your body, look at water like a flame retardant. It keeps inflammation down. It also flushes out toxins out of the body. It also allows your body, nature's solution to pollution is dilution. So as you're sitting there burning your pistons twice in a workout to get through those workouts, there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of metabolism, there's a lot of metabolites, there's a lot of kickoff and byproducts that are being excreted, mm-hmm. and your body will hold on to excess water to dilute the concentration of those burdens. And so if you bring in enough water, because the average American right now, male is 60 to 63% water, female 57 to 60% water. I mean, think about that. More than half of you driving down the road right now or tapping on some keys, listening to our voices is made of water. I mean, and so when you put in good water, your body is able to refresh its water supply and eliminate waste through exit channels of sweat or urine or mm-hmm. fecal matter.
So here's something I noticed about what you said. Sorry to interrupt. Mm-hmm. You said good water.
That's right.
So there's bad water.
That's right. Not all water is created equal. You could be drinking tap water that is in a 1970s building and wonder, man, this stuff tastes a little metally, or it tastes a little something, or it tastes like this. Water really shouldn't taste like anything. It should just be water. And so you want a good, clean water source, because water, when contaminated, is one of the number one reasons you're not supposed to drink water from natural sources when you go overseas, because there's pathogens in there, there's strains of bacteria, there's strains of molds and things that our body, viruses that our body will download. And if your body's never seen it before, and you're in an immune compromised state, you might find yourself sick. You might find yourself with diarrhea, vomiting. You might catch a bug, and it could have been prevented.
Wow.
And then in today's water world, we put a lot of extra chemicals and things in our water. Some of it is good to clean the water, but a lot of times that same, you know how is enough really enough? You know, like we typically go a little overboard and throw in a little bit more than enough, and that more than enough could be fluoride. We put fluoride in the water. Why do we do that? You know, like that was a bad idea. They
put it in toothpaste, right?
The idea, right, is they sold it to the American Dental Association as a good idea for hardening the enamel on the teeth and preventing dental decay. But you know, what putting it in our water, now we're digesting this water. If you're mouth rinsing with it, okay, fine. You know, maybe we can make a case for it. But drinking a gallon of, you know, chemicalized water day in and day out is not necessarily a good idea. And but there's a doctor that went around up in New York. He wrote a book called "The Body's Many Cries for Water," and water nourishes and strengthens your body by deburdening the toxic load that you're carrying, and that deburdening of that toxic load allows your body to perform better. So if you got headaches, odds are you didn't drink enough water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you've got sinus congestion, odds are you haven't had enough water. If you haven't had a bowel movement today, odds are you haven't drank enough water. If all of your urine is smelly and concentrated yellow, and you haven't had enough water today. And so this guy went around and he treated everything from acid reflux to indigestion to headaches to blood pressure issues, to heart conditions.
With water?
With water. That's all he did. And you can download his PDF. I mean, it's The Body's Many Cries for Water. And so we drink reverse osmosis water. We use a Berkey machine or basically a gravity-fed filtration system that eliminates 99% of all the impurities, 99.9% of all the impurities. And I mean, this thing filters so well. You can put red dye in the water on top, and it'll even filter out the dye. And so you filter your water, or you become the filter, further needing a detox. And so we are getting becoming more and more toxic from the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food that we eat. And so we've created this fake food mantra where if you eat make-believe food, the best you'll ever have is
make-believe health.
Make-believe health. And it makes sense. You know, why would an athlete go out and deplete their body of storehouses of nutrients only to go fill it up again with junk food or fake food or make-believe food?
You know, I think some of them do that, but the ones who play to like their 35, I'm thinking of basketball, 35 and 40, you know, some of them have even adopted a vegan diet from what I've seen, like Chris Paul. You know, he's, what, 30,
Manning, I think,
35 years old,
Mm-hmm.
still playing in the NBA, still putting up, you know, big numbers. They have to adjust, like, hey, I can't eat that way. But you'll see, like, these young guys come in and then, you know, they can do it for 2 years.
I mean, yeah, and it's when there is something to the aging process, right? I mean, age is only a number. I'm 100% for that. But when you have, you know, 10 times the stem cells as a youth that you have in your 30s or something like that, like that's what you start to see the decline.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they've done statistics on skin. When a baby can turn over their skin like every 30 days or every 15 days. Teenagers can turn it over every 30 days. Adults in their 40s, it might take up to 3 to 6 months, depending on their, you know, resources. And that's because of deficiency in their body and toxicity. Deficiency because we're minerally devoid of nutrients in our society. Like we don't. The average American's eating. I'm gonna go like above conservative, right? 3 servings of vegetables a week. I've heard it's even as low as
That's it.
1 to 3 vegetables a week.
What's considered a serving?
So half a cup to a cup of a veggie of
Okay.
a sort. You know, so if it's cauliflower, maybe it's a half a cup of cauliflower. If it's asparagus, maybe it's, you know, a cup of asparagus. I mean, so like yesterday morning, my son and I made onions, bell peppers, and asparagus doused in olive oil and some salt and pepper.
That was your breakfast?
That was breakfast. You know,
How old's your son again?
He's 10. And so he's on day whatever mom is on, day 13. And he is, however, in kids, we have them eating protein. You know, so they get chicken, fish, turkey, eggs. And because there's just so much that they're developing. You know, not that adults don't need that. We can go without it because we're not in like high pursuit development mode. You know, we spend the first 20 years, you know, developing, and then we start declining, and then we're trying to control those processes as much as possible. And but the cool thing that I like about getting kids enrolled in some kind of cleansing, detoxing experience is because the mental game. Life is always going to tempt you with junk food, fake food, make-believe food, or whatever the vice is, gambling, sugar cravings, everything, anything.
Yeah.
I could go on and
There's
on.
a lot.
And so the temptation of life, if you can control your taste buds, if you can control your belly, you've got a pretty good braking system on the way your mind sees the world.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know when to say what, and you have better discretion and better wisdom whenever you're reading a situation. And this is an important life skill. And so seeing my 10-year-old go through this, like at first he did the same thing I did. He wanted to be perfect. So, he doesn't know what to eat. So he just doesn't eat. I'm like, dude, like you got to eat, bro.
Yeah.
And he goes, but I don't want to mess up the detox. I said, dude, you can't mess it up. And yesterday he was asking me, all right, how do you want me to cut this? I'm like, just make a decision. Let's just cut it.
Was it vegetables?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was onions. And I just said, but with one caveat, where do your fingers go? He goes, anywhere but under the blade. I'm like, that's a good rule too.
Yes.
And so I'm teaching my family life skills. I want them to adopt these principles not as a chore, but as this is a fast. This is denying the flesh. This is denying your wants, your desires. This is denying comfort. We seek so much the mountaintops of life. But what can you really do on a mountaintop?
Just look down?
Yeah. I mean, and it's a lot of times it's a little bit unstable up there, believe it or not. A lot of times you could easily make the wrong footing and find yourself in a conundrum. Where does most growth happen?
I'll say from the bottom.
From the bottom. Mm-hmm. And, so we always strive to get to a mountaintop. We always strive to get back into calm waters. And we want life to be comforting and easy, right?
Right.
But there's no growth. And so there's a conversation of hormesis. Hormesis is a term that is a healthy stress that creates growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some level, our bodies need a ongoing state of hormesis. And hormesis is this space where your body can develop at a faster rate. So how many people, smash the like button if you've ever learned something from, your the challenges that you've gone through.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I have, and I Lord knows I have.
I have to share a little bit of my story. You talk about being at the bottom of the mountain. So yesterday I woke up, I went to the gym. On the way back from the gym, I had two blowout tires. It's still dark outside.
Right.
It's raining. I pull over on the side of the road, and I said this would happen on day one of my detox. This is something that is trying to throw my whole schedule off. Every minute of my morning is almost scheduled out. This is what I'm going to be. If I'm going to be on time to get my son to school, if I'm going to make it into the radio, this is what I got to do, right? So this just blew everything off. But I realized, I was like, at that point, I mean, it could get worse, but I'm choosing that this is going to be the lowest point of my day. I'm not going to let this stop me from doing my detox. I'm still going to drink my gallon of water. I'm still going to take all my supplements and get my son to school somehow, on time. And it all worked out. But that was me, like, looking at the bottom of the mountain, like looking up on this 21-day detox that we're starting on right now. And, I finished my water at like 7 p.m. last night, and I still kept drinking more water. Me and my wife made dinner in spite of everything, all the obstacles. My son got all his extracurricular activities done and everything else. But it was a challenge, and I did feel slightly defeated, but I realized, like, hey, this is the lowest point of my day. Let's go up from here. I want to feel good. Let's get this detox rolling.
Yeah, and, so that had a similar sort of kind of experience yesterday morning. I wake up in the morning, and everything's kicking. I'm doing great. I'm loving where we're going. And I'm excited about, like, what the day's going to bring. It's the first day of detox, and I find myself cutting up radishes. I got that cool air fryer thing, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna air fry some radishes and see what that tastes like. And I threw some sliced up some jalapenos and threw them in there. And I get to the end of my air frying experience, and they're charred. I mean, they're completely ruined. And I'm like, I got this really cool picture that I'm going to post, to my group on Facebook, Live Well Detox 2020.
Join it. Go join that group.
And then I pulled out these charred, nasty smelling, like, oh my gosh, what happened? And then as I'm pulling out the tray, I knock a whole bottle of spice off the counter, and it's a glass bottle, and of course it goes kabloom. And my son's sitting there cooking our vegetables, and I said, "Don't move. There's glass everywhere." And he's barefooted, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, this is what happens. This is how it sometimes goes. Like, sometimes life is hard, but we don't falter. We don't throw in the towel. We just say we do hard things
with new recipes, new experiments, new lifestyles. Things happen,
and that's the name of the game. Is we got to figure out a way to have fun with it. And so watching him, my son watch me go through that. It was just funny.
Yeah.
And I think that people that are intimidated by the kitchen, I think that if you don't get in there and make a mess every now and again, you never get in there and figure stuff out.
So I have to share a story, and this person will remain nameless because I'm not trying to shame them. I'm just sharing experience, and they would be okay with this. They're nameless, right? So they went and got blood drawn yesterday in the morning. They were supposed to be on the detox. Apparently it was a bad experience, very painful. I get a text and said, I need to go get tacos, like right now. I was like, you need to get tacos because the blood experience that you had drawn didn't work? He was like, yes. I was like, stop. No, you don't need to do that. But he was like, I can't do the detox. I'm in too much pain. And I was like, don't let that keep you from, reaching your goals. Or why did you want to do the detox in the first place? Yeah, you had a bad experience to the morning. It was a bad start, but a lot of people do, but you can still make that decision. But even though he chose to maybe not do the detox yesterday, he can still start today.
Absolutely. And that's the whole thing, right? It doesn't matter if you got started yesterday or last week. The whole point of our detox experience, we have quite a bit of technology around helping make it go for you at any junction of starting. We have, for the next 3 weeks, 5 more classes, Monday and Thursday, every week at 6:30 p.m., where you can come and get close to the campfire, where you can learn about detox. You can understand more about what your body's doing during detox, and where we're getting exposed to toxins that cause us to need to detox. And so helping you understand why is a very important big, piece of the game.
Yeah.
And understanding a little bit about your physiology, not that you're going to walk out, ready to tackle the world, but you're going to walk out going, well, that's cool. At least, I don't have to be so smart to know how to run a cytochrome P450 enzyme system, And you're like, what?
What'd you say? Yeah.
And so, but we have these classes designed to make life more fun for you and more easy for you going through the process. So we want to encourage people that if you were planning on starting and haven't started, start. Let's get after it. Let's see what we can do to create a new you this 2020.
I will say this is my third detox, and it's been a lot easier for me to track the supplements. I remember the first detox, I felt confused, like, oh, I'm supposed to take this. And then the second one, I was still kind of confused. But on day one of the third detox, whenever it comes to taking what, I feel like I'm good. Like I'm in stride. I kind of, it's familiar. It's not something that's brand new. I already have some recipes that I like. I've had all the supplements before. And that's one thing that I've noticed so far just on day 2.
Yeah. And for me, even though I've technically just started yesterday, last week was just basically my son's diet, which was meat and veggies. And so I have had, no grains since my wife started, and, no chips, nothing. It's like it's been a very, fun getting back into the kitchen and getting my fingers greasy, and coming up with some new recipes. We're redesigning the cookbook, and we're redesigning some of the our videos and things like that. So it's been, really fun to kind of just enroll my kids in the process, because as they get older, they're learning, and they're doing it with us. They're in the trenches with us. And one of the things that I find about being in practice is, as a clinician in the field, we're in the forefront of what's happening in a community. A lot of the stuff that we see on the day in and day out are things that aren't written about in textbooks. And so we want people to realize that when they come in, we're not just, following a cookie cutter recipe. These are clinical pearls that have been proven from the trenches, and a lot of these things work time over again. And something I mentioned yesterday to a patient is that the reason home remedies get such a bad rap for not working is people don't know how to work them. And they need people to coach them on how to use them effectively, how to use thermal therapy, how to use teas in your therapy. How do you leverage and utilize a nutrition program when you're fighting off a cold or getting rid of a fever or dealing with, a headache? How do you start becoming more aware that your symptoms are a product of something that you probably did yesterday or did this morning or what you even did 15 minutes ago? If you're sleepy right now, what did you eat for breakfast or what didn't you eat for breakfast? And so we start looking at all these different scenarios and getting you enrolled in the thinking process so that when stuff in life happens to you in your body and your physical ailments, you start realizing that, oh, that could cause this. Dairy can cause me to be mucousy in the morning. Or I had this one guy, he would drink a gallon of milk before bed and wake up in the morning for 30 minutes hacking, snot out of his head while I was in the shower. And I mean, I looked at him and hesitantly, because we were running a half marathon at the time, I didn't really want to talk to him about it. We were only training, so we could talk, but I just didn't want to be that guy that was sitting there, trying to tell him something. But by the end of it, he had told me his whole life story and how much he's been suffering. I just like, dude, I can't even leave. If I leave this conversation and not share with you, what I know and what I'm hearing you say, you've got a dairy allergy, and you need to get off this stuff. And sure enough, Hurricane Ike happened, and then this was a long time ago, and I saw him at the finish line of the Houston half marathon or marathon, and he goes, "Dude, I haven't seen you in months." He says, "But I need to tell you something." He goes, "I listened to your advice, and I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it that it was as simple as that." I said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, I remember you." And he says, "Well, I haven't had allergies in months. I haven't had, that mucus in months, and I feel outstanding." And it was all because of that dairy. And so in some cases, it's simple as a food allergy. So what are you eating today that might be causing you to have symptom patterns that are causing you to suffer?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a symptom and you think that it's just chalk it up to getting old, or that it's just a random fluke occurrence, or somebody coughed on you and you caught something, that's not always the case. There's bugs all around right now. Flu's running rampant. Viral patterns are running rampant. And I try to get people to recognize and realize that doesn't mean that your immune system can't process it immediately and make sure that it gets quarantined, or if it downloads it and processes it, maybe it's got something to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so afraid of hard things, and I want to get people enrolled in being willing to take the bull by the horns and grow in the valley where the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Yes. So if somebody is detoxing, that means and they're cleansing, they're removing stuff from their diets. There can be some symptoms. I stopped drinking energy drinks after Thursday. I'm sure some other people have removed some stuff. This is a question that came in, and they want to know, what are the top 2 herbs for migraine and anxiety? Removing something from your diet, can that cause some of those things? And what are some things that we can do to combat that?
So anxiety typically is a weak, fragile, thin digestive tract. So the digestive tract is a long tube, if you will, and from your mouth to your hind end. And as we get older, it begins to thin out. And the thinner it is, the more easily penetratable it is from the outside world. And that's what typically we find is a source of a lot of people's anxiety. The second, source is adrenal stress. So we're constantly stimulating our body with rocket fuel, sugars, candies, cakes, comfort foods, coffees, whatever. And the adrenal glands take a lot of blows throughout the day. Then you go to the office and then you get more blows. Boom, boom, boom. Life happens. You get kicked in the teeth, whatever. And this process shouldn't be a daily occurrence, but in a lot of times it is. And so anxiety can also be a organ system malfunction. The adrenal glands, for example, take a hit, and that your adrenal glands are your stress mechanism. They allow your body to handle life's challenges and life's day-to-day more effectively. And so when people have on a detox, they take out these stimulants, these stressors, so to speak, and they feel a little bit more anxiety. It's because they have a short fuse. My detox, the ultimate detox experience, is a test and a remedy in the same experience. So if you have symptoms, it's an indicator light that you have toxins that are being released. So I've had some patients that their first day or two, I hate to say, they throw up. They vomit. They go through a massive withdrawal when they get off of caffeine, when they get off of sugar or whatever. I mean, these are very strong drugs that we don't give full credit to as being a drug.
Caffeine and sugar?
Yeah, and having, a withdrawal to the point of, vomit, right? And so what I find is if your toxicity load is really high, you typically have more symptoms, headaches, migraines, you get fatigued, brain fog, you feel like your body's walking through, the mud and molasses, and you're just like, this is work. This is hard. I don't want to do this. My body doesn't like this. But the reality is if you feel those things, it's because you have toxins. But the good news is the detox that we have, the way I have it set up, is that it literally will wring out toxins out of your brain, where it's one of the key places your body stores toxins, unfortunately. And that's why people walk around that can't remember names, numbers, or words, and they can't remember why they walked into a room, and they can't remember, what they did or what they ate this morning. I ask people all the time, hey, did you have a bowel movement today? I can't remember. If you go, I can't. If you said this minute, you go, means, oh, you haven't, or you're embarrassed to talk about it, whatever. But then the second place the body, the detox pushes toxins out is out of the fat cells of our body. And that's why people can't lose weight, because the body's not going to release toxins if there isn't a safe means of exit. Why put it back into circulation where it could potentially wreak havoc, free radical damage, and these oxidation processes that causes accelerated aging? So your body's not going to release these toxins if it doesn't have a place to put it. And then the body releases things out of the joints, and that's why people walk around with arthritis, or what I like to call arthrongus. I don't think there's anything rightus about it. And so if you have anxiety when you get off of a lot of these stimulants and stresses, it's a sign that you're addicted and your body has a short fuse. We need to support that fuse. So we would come in and we would feed the adrenal glands. So if you're just on a detox, you might need to make an appointment so we could figure out, all right, well, where else do you need support? Because the detox amplifies your weaknesses, and it allows Jennifer and I to come in and see where your weaknesses are so we can support those.
We got some sad reacts from people who may be relating to this information that's coming through. It's like, that's not what I wanted to hear.
And well, but a lot of times people want to, not realize that it's just the truth sometimes hurts, I guess. Is that what it is?
That's a fact. Yes.
And so the reality is we just keep going, and we just say, all right, tomorrow's gonna be better. Tomorrow's gonna be better. And literally within about 3 to 4 days, you snap out of a lot of those places. Your body's like, oh, I got it. This little hard hiatus isn't going to end anytime soon. I gotta change my tune. And because your body is such an adaptive vessel, an adaptive vehicle, it will literally figure out how to give you energy. It'll figure out how to give you mental clarity. It'll figure out how to balance your system out. Because number one, you took away all the body's comfort. You made it work a little bit. And no one's ever died from a little hard work, and a lot of times people get better when they get out there and they put it to the plow. And I want people to use the detox as that tool to go through and plow up their land a little bit, till up the garden, and see if we can find some earthworms, see if we can, get our hands dirty and learn how to tinker around in the kitchen again. Learn how to, discipline yourself to drink more water. Learn how to, discipline yourself to take some extra nutrients to accelerate the detox process. Because if you just followed my detox diet, it's a cleanse. It's not technically a detox. A cleanse is the natural elimination of waste and debris out of the body. When you detox, you're assisting the natural detoxification
pushing it
process
out
and pushing trash out. And that's where a lot of these people get their symptoms as well. And so, again, it's not a bad thing that you have a symptom like that, But how cool would it be if you could start the detox like, I did yesterday and today, and I'm in full-fledged with the subs and going through the process, and I feel like it's just another day in paradise, and because I've done this 41 times, I better not have a ton of toxins built up. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and 2.5 years ago, he had 30 and 35% blockage in his in coronary arteries of his heart. And another study done just yesterday, 0%. Zero. Do you know what that means? Like, we reversed like a plaquing disorder in his arteries
through nutrition and health.
And lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so anything that you can develop as a negative symptom, you can undevelop. And that's a good news. So now we can get some happy faces back up there because there's good news.
There's a heart react.
Yeah. And the good news is we can live better than we did last year, and we can impact the next 3 to 5 years, the next 15 years, the next lifespan we have, and recognize that although we are not 18 anymore, we can make our 30s or our 40s or our 50s or our 60s better than they ever were. And so I just get excited to share, what it is to detox and help people recognize that there is so many important faculties that go into this process, because highly processed foods like sugar, white bread, noodles are, they're everywhere in our diet today, filled full of partially hydrogenated oil, MSG, artificial sugars, artificial flavors, artificial ingredients, and goes back to what I always like to say: make-believe food leads to one thing and one thing only.
Make-believe health.
Make-believe health. I mean, it's like almost like a little banter there, but it's a good mantra, because it helps you realize, hey, am I putting real food into my kid today, or am I turning them into a wooden little statue?
Mm-hmm.
And and living healthy isn't necessarily a hard thing. It's just it's a mindset. It's mind over matter.
I think it's hard to get started.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, is making that decision up here that I can do this, and putting in the work in the kitchen, going to the store and talking to your family, I guess, getting that support, like getting started.
And so, if anybody's got some, thoughts on that, what are some of the challenges that keep you from getting started? What holds you back from making lifestyle and taking the bull by the horns into your own hands? Because I find that if we could talk to those things, I think that, to your point, we'll find a lot of common thread amongst the people, that this is what people are dealing with day in and day out. And so how can we serve them best in our community and in this life to know that they're not alone?
Yeah, I think one of the other things is just not wanting to give up certain things. Like, you'll feel better if you eliminate dairy, but I just like cheese, or I just want to eat, like pizza and all those other things. Just knowing what's right, still choosing wrong. A lot of the times, people struggle with that in all aspects. And I think that's why food is a great place to start. So you can kind of control, like, oh, this is right for my body. This is a good way to control, like, finances. It's a good decision. It's a bad decision. Yeah. It's all kind of correlated.
And it's sowing and reaping. Like you sow seeds every day. And whether you sowed a good seed or a bad seed, you sowed it, and it will come back and bite you in the hiney, and or it will support you. And so, we always look for ways to support people through a process. And I'm always, I always recognize, and this is what I do see a lot, is just getting people, and this is why I like supplements so much, okay, is people can easily take supplements. And they're willing to take a supplement over changing their diet initially. But what happens is, as we start turning on their glandular axis, their pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid, adrenal, gonadal axis, and make their endocrine system stronger, they all of a sudden start making lifestyle modifications on their own. It's really bizarre. This happens every time. And so I haven't seen, just say, hey, I need you to go do this diet, and them do it very easily. But if I say, hey, let's go take this nutrition plan and let's program in better nutrition into your life, into your day, into your body, all of a sudden inside of a month, 2 months, 3 months, they're making decisions on their own way more effortlessly that are good, and they can walk past the donut way easier than before they came in to see us. And so when patients come in to see us, we always are out to figure out a way to help them live better, be better, and stay better one bite at a time. And so, if that's you, if you've got, interest in taking the bull by the horns and getting your health under control, give us a call or at 281-554-8600 or visit our website at justlivewell.com and check out some of the links we have. We got health surveys available up there that will help you start seeing, assessing your own health. You can't expect things that if you're not willing to inspect. So we want you to inspect your health. When you do our new patient paperwork, you'll see a toxicity questionnaire, and you can see a load of toxins that you're carrying on the day-to-day, and you're like, wow, like I need to maybe look at this, as a lifestyle. Like I got more stuff going on than I realized. And people just need to become aware of surveys and tools to help them assess where they are in their overall health, and then share it with us. Let us help you.
So here's some comments that I want to read. This is from Kat, and she said, what keeps me from drinking that much water is knowing that I will have to pee a lot at work and not being able to run to the bathroom that often. And I'm not going to lie, like right now, I feel thirsty, and I want to just chug this giant gallon of water that I started on this morning, but I know I'm going to have to sit here, and I can't just run out and go use the restroom. But in the past, what I've noticed is the more your body starts to get used to drinking this amount of water, the less you'll have to use the restroom, at least like that urge. Is that right? Does that make sense?
It takes about 30 days. And so initially, you're absolutely right. You will pee like a racehorse, for the betterment of 30 days. But then all of a sudden, in 30 days, what you'll notice is it doesn't happen. And it's because you flushed out a bunch of stuff. And as you bring in new fresh water, your body naturally wants to cleanse things. So it's like replacing the old toxic water with good fresh water, and that's what you're eliminating.
All right. So here's a comment I want to read from Ashley. She said, I recently introduced spiralized sweet potato noodles to my daughter, and she likes them better than pasta. And I asked her, where'd you get those from? Because that sounds like something that I would like to try. Here's a comment from Jennifer. She said, there are many foods that are just gross to me. They literally make me gag. Avocado, asparagus, spinach, collard greens, beets. I have tried, and my mouth rejects them all. So for someone like that, is that like a palate issue?
Yes. And so one, if she liked it, congratulations. That's fantastic, right? Because it's always a win. It takes about 17 exposures to the palate to get a person, kid, adult, anybody that's not introducing new foods that hasn't tried it before. Initially, they have to experiment with it. And it takes about 17 exposures to the palate to acclimate to the texture and that whole, sensational part of the food. And then it's taste, right?
Yeah.
And as we get the more exposures to the palate, then they start appreciating, oh, if you put butter with it, it tastes like this. If you put olive oil, it tastes like this. And so you have 5 palates. And so you have your salty palate. Everybody's very familiar with it. Everybody loves that one, right?
Yeah.
Chips and things like that. And then you've got your sour palate, which people kind of sort of like. They more or less add that to their cooking so that they can, experiment it with it, but they don't experience it, but they don't really love hard sweet sour.
Yeah.
And then of course we've got the sweet that everybody totally is enthralled with. And then there's the fourth palate. The fourth palate is where people struggle, and the fourth palate is the bitter palate. When you have a good solid bitter palate, you develop what we call a savory palate, your fifth palate. And when you have all of those palates working, you are very open to food. Food now becomes, all food becomes comfort, because you're not really upset if you don't get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like the Thanos of the health industry if you have all of the infinity palates.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And I think that I'm thinking of it. This is the way. I'm going back to Mandalorian, and so, you can literally change the game when you've got all your stones in place. And so your palette is an artist can't paint without a paintbrush, a palate, and paint, right? Well, you can't enjoy food if you don't have the salt, the sweet, the sour, the bitter, and the savory. And I think that is a wonderful place to be. And one of the things that I'm learning about on this detox, and I mentioned it last time, is I walked past my wife's one of her dishes, and it was just tomatoes, salt, pepper, and she sprinkled some parsley, I think, on top of that, and olive oil, and it was like in a like a little swimming pool of olive oil, and I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven. I mean, I knew immediately I was gonna love that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could look at the meal and go, I can taste the parsley, I can taste the olive oil, I can taste the salt, and I can taste the pepper, and I go, I'm doing that. So I went and cut myself up some of the same thing, and I, just like I thought, loved it. Well, so I evolved that forward. Yesterday at work, I'm working on patients, and I had cut up some asparagus spears, like little finger-like fingerlings, some carrot slices, so round slices, and some cucumber and tomato, and did the exact same thing with it. And I'm like, I must be needing olive oil or something. Like, I'm like, I like the olive oil. That's what I'm wanting.
Yeah.
And so I can
that's the fats, right?
I can just douse it in olive oil, and I'm like in heaven. And it's so good for your skin. It's so good for your blood sugar. It's so good for your metabolism. And I'm thinking, totally, this is what I want. This is the way. This is what's going to get me through eating raw vegetables for the next 21 days. And not that I'll only eat raw vegetables, but I mean, in this case, for snacks. And man, it serves as my crunch, so I get that crunchy texture feel in my mouth from the raw veggies, and then the flavors are just bursting because I can add Mediterranean spice to it. I can add cilantro spice to it. I can get different that ancho, pepper chili spice to it, and you can take the same vegetables, the same olive oil cocktail, and put different spices over the top of it, and you can warm up your palate. And now bring temperature sensations and stimulate cranial nerve 9, stimulate cranial nerve 12, and start manipulating aspects of your nervous system. And you're bringing in more sensory inputs. The more sensory inputs, it's like having a party in your mouth. And that's another game to play. And so we can use different spices to either create a more, enhanced sour, or a more enhanced savory, or a more enhanced, experience that we're looking for, and there's a spice that'll do that. And so I really think spices are a key, and there's so many good blends available at your store. Just make sure it's an organic brand, and so you might pay another $1 for it, but when you look at the ingredients, you won't see partially hydrogenated oil, you won't see the excess sugar or MSG, what we call the deadly food additives. When you put these deadly food additives in there, it makes now you're sprinkling poison all over your food, neurotoxins all over your food, and it's making it very difficult for your body to really get the benefit of what you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So spend the extra $1, and it'll make your spice experience or your vegetable eating experience better.
So here's another tip when it comes to vegetables, and this is from your wife, who is a great cook. I've made some of the recipes in that detox cookbook. She said, and this may not work for the detox, but if you're trying to experience new vegetables, like if your palate's not there yet, or you want to try new things, she said her answer to making vegetables better is to add bacon. On the detox, you can't eat that, but it does make vegetables you're not used to eating taste better.
Yeah, and so I find that this is why the community is so awesome, right? Because every person inside of our detox community has a way, that they like stuff cooked. And the reality is just because your parents made it the way that they made it, because people do not do what they want to do. They only do what they know how to do.
Right.
And so most people that have, conditions and diagnoses have these things because of they were trained to do it that way. They followed a recipe.
Right.
And the recipe is what caused the parent to have the disease and for them to develop the disease. And so listening to different people's experience, who would have thought putting avocado in a shake would have tasted good? You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you put half an avocado or a quarter of an avocado in your smoothie, it makes it creamy. It also gives you healthy, saturated fats that will help balance out blood sugar and make you not feel hungry and give your mind clarity and energy. And you're like, wow, that's easy.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I got a guy that hates avocados, but he'll put a quarter of an avocado in his smoothie, and he's in heaven. He's like, I don't even taste it.
I did that last detox with a little bit of ice, some avocado, and you put your supplements in there, and it is the real deal. It's like you're drinking a chocolate smoothie shake. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So here's another question. This is from Kat. She wants to know, is it too late to join the detox?
No, it's not. Just give us a call, 281-554-8600, or visit our website, justlivewell.com. We have some information up there. And we are going to be detoxing all month long. We have classes on Mondays to hit your Monday, Wednesday, Friday people. Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. at the Perry YMCA in League City. And on Thursday nights for your Tuesday, Thursday crowd that have those schedules, Tuesday and Thursday, or on Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m., we're going to be at the Perry YMCA. So Monday and Thursday every week for the next 3 weeks we'll be there. So this Thursday night at 6:30 p.m., come join us, and you will learn a lot. We have great giveaways. We've got great, vendors that show up. Last night we had Main Squeeze. Jeff Dross was out there. We had Natural Living. We had the Tea Lady. We had Callie Hell and all New Teeth Dentistry. And so it's a great environment where people can interact with the community. This was designed to be a community outreach program, bonding and uniting different local businesses. And we're just excited about getting people inside the building so we can educate you on how to do this detox effectively.
I have a question. Are kids welcome to attend those meetings? How does that work?
Yeah, so at the Y, they've really been very gracious and to offer childcare. So they've got some great activities for the kids, and so that was a nice benefit as well. So kids are welcome, and we do start between at 6:30. So we definitely want you to get over there, and sometimes the traffic's a little congested, so leave early.
So Mondays and Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. for the remainder of the detox. 6:30 p.m. at the Perry YMCA. There's childcare provided. You can go learn, have questions asked and answered about everything.
And experiences. I mean, we had people last night that had never done the program before that were in the room, and all right, so like, how do I get started? And we will get you started. We've got a great team, and we just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that be a part of the office. Either be a patient in the office, come to the events, do both. I mean, we've got the foot baths that are running at the office for people that want to do a foot bath a week. Every time I do a detox, I'll sneak in there and do a foot bath every week while I'm doing my detox as a extra benefit to pulling trash and toxins out of the body. And then in the mornings, I like to do, as you know, steam therapy and hot therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I am always looking for ways to get the body to purge unnecessary, burdens.
Right.
And every one of us is carrying an unnecessary burden. So we've got to take the bull by the horns. We've got to learn this conversation of detox and learn how to integrate it into our lives. So even though it's something that might be initially, like you said, hard to get started, we do hard things. And the second time you've done it, look at you now. This is a great. That's what I thought. I was like, wait a second.
Detox number 3.
What did I say?
Oh yeah.
So how much easier is it on this time than day one, the first time you did it?
And I'm prepared. I got my supplements. See, I didn't have one of these for detox 1 and 2. I was a fool. I carried around a little bag like a big old dummy.
Yeah, and I have all my stuffs in my ice chest in the car.
I will say this. So my supplement box, if you hear that, if you're listening on 99.5 FM, it's not as big as Dr. Chapa's.
I should have brought mine. We could have compared them.
Like tool chest, he walks in on the back. It's a big one. So it's a
war
start.
chest.
Yeah.
It's a war chest.
Hey, is there anything else you'd like to share, Dr. Chapa?
No. So guys, I'm so thankful everybody's tuning in, and I just hope that you guys have a blessed, wonderful week, and that just know this, that we do hard things. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center will lead you, guide you, and train you how to do hard things more easily. And we hope that you have a fantastic new year and get this new year started. This is 3 months worth of work that you can knock out in 3 weeks, and we want you to get the most out of this detox experience. So give us a call at 281-554-8600, and definitely come and join us at the Perry YMCA in League City, Texas, Monday and Thursday every week for a 6:30 detox class on how to integrate detox into your world, how to work through the challenges that you will, be exposed to. And so just know that you can do this, and we're going to help you every step of the way.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. We're going to take a quick break on the FM. We're going to come back here in a bit. I'm going to have Coach Reggie Rusk with Stay Recruited in studio. If you're watching on Facebook, stay buckled in. You're going to get a notification that KHEA Radio has gone live again. You can find out from Coach Reggie all of these cool things that he has going on. He played in the NFL. He's from Texas City. He's a really cool guy that everybody should get to know. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, Facebook. Be